This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. My guests today are Moritiz Putzhammer and Christopher Helf of Trality, a platform for algorithmic crypto trading bots. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey there.
Hi, welcome. So, look, where I am in New Zealand, it's Wednesday night, the 4th of November, and of course in the US, it's election night, so it's early morning for you guys. But I imagine you've woken up and the first thing you probably looked at Twitter or CNN or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I was looking at the push notifications I got on my mobile, and it looks like it's going to be a nail biter.
I woke up as well and looked at the first notification. I saw Trump wins Florida, and I was, oh no, Florida seems to be a deciding state.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting, and it looks like, as you said, Moritz, it really is going to be a nail biter, and probably too close to call tonight. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. But as always, it is simply volatile times in the world. But Bitcoin looks pretty good at the moment, and the markets are certainly. Yeah, they've reacted reasonably well so far, but that's not to say that that situation could change depending on how the rest of the 24 hours to 48 hours plays out.
Absolutely, and I think at the end of the day, that's what everyone was expecting, anyways, right? So I think up to the election, everyone was always saying, "Look, we might not have the results on election night." Now, we're sitting here saying it's a nail biter, but at the end of the day, everyone was expecting this, and I think the turmoil that comes along with that. So I'm still positive, and I think the markets seem to still reflect all these kind of uncertainties, right? Including, of course, the reasonably well performing Bitcoin price over the last couple of weeks.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, let's not fall into the trap of talking too much politics. We're here to talk crypto trading bots, really, today. So to begin with, why don't we just get like a little bit of an introduction from each of you, just not too in depth, but just a little bit of your background and then where you guys are from, and sort of paint a picture of how you guys know each other and why you decided to start Trality.
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Moritiz. Again, thank you very much for having us. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Triality. I have I guess you would say, traditional business background. So I've worked in international business fields for most of my life, most recently at the university as an assistant professor in Vienna at the Vienna University of Economics and Business. And one of the things that I was doing whilst working there and sort of, trying to finance my PhD is I was trading a lot. Traveling also a little bit, but not so much trading, I was going to say, and especially cryptos, right? Because it was during the hype of 2016, 2017. And I realized that, as a private person actively trading cryptos, at some point you're bound to lose a lot of sleep if you really try to beat the markets. And unfortunately also at some point you're bound to lose some money. So I was sort of a little bit more desperate, and I was contacting my very good friend Christopher, who's got a computer science background. I told him, man, look, I'm at the end of my knowledge with my business background. Why don't we try to automate my trading a little bit? And this is basically, when I contacted him, and Christopher, why don't you take over from here and,
Sure.
and tell the second part of the story?
Sure. Yeah. So me and Moritz, we know each other for, I think it's around 10 years now. So we actually studied together. And yeah, so as Moritz said, he basically came to me with, very tired eyes, because he was didn't get much sleep at the time. I was trading because the markets never closed. They're trading 24/7, and he said, we need to automate this somehow. I got a couple of ideas for automation, and that's how it all began. So we started off by writing small utility scripts that would facilitate our lives in trading, and then that grew and grew over time to a really cool kind of set of tools that would really help us. And that grew even further into something we could really see as a really useful thing for other people as well. And that was basically the initial spark for a product. We said that would be something, that's not available on the market, and that would really add some real value to people out there. And we figured, let's build a company and let's build a product around this. And that's basically how we started.
Moritz, then I guess it would be good to just understand a little bit more about what Trality is then. So I understand that it's a platform for crypto trading bots, but there are a lot of different platforms and different bots. So go for it. What's Trality?
Yeah, absolutely. Trality, I mean, we are the platform, or we want to be the platform for anyone to create and invest through automated trading bots. And we really want to empower private traders like me a couple of years ago to make profits with algorithmic trading. And the way we want to do this is by building a platform centering around the marketplace for trading bots. So on the one hand, we have creators who we give really state-of-the-art tools to build the best and most profitable bots. We also give them data to test and improve on these bots, but we also give them the opportunity to write on our cloud, deploy these bots for trading, either for themselves and let them make profits for themselves, or alternatively to put them on a marketplace and expose their bots to a potentially much larger group of followers. And this is basically where our second user group, we call them followers, comes into play. They're given a slick and easy to use mobile app. And with a few clicks on their mobile, they can log into this marketplace, find the bot that's perfect for them based on a couple of key metrics, and follow that bot so that every algorithmic trade done by the creator's bot is automatically being copied onto their account. And the great thing is that the creator doesn't even need to reveal its algorithm. The IP stays completely in his hand, and we don't even see the algorithm of the bot. This is all based on copy trading there.
As I said, there are quite a wide variety now of different, I guess, bot-based platforms across the crypto markets. So, yeah, I'd be interested in your thoughts on what I'm sure you've done your research and looking at the other platforms available and the trends in the market. So what are you seeing across the market at the moment?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. We're not the only ones starting with this. We do see a couple of platforms out there, but we really see our USP twofold. So on the one hand, when we talk about these creators that I mentioned, our aim is to really provide them with the highest level of flexibility and sophistication that's available in the B2C space. So obviously, we're not trying to compete with the big banks and hedge funds out there that put millions into complex tools. But we're really focusing on the B2C space, and they're trying to be the best in terms of the tools that we provide these bot creators to build the most profitable trading bots. We're not just focusing on simple technical analysis, trading one pair, doing individual trades, but instead we're really empowering these people to build bots that are managing their all-encompassing portfolio. On the other hand, our USP towards the followers is to make this sophistication that I just mentioned available to a broad base of users who, they just have a couple of cryptos lying around and they're angry that they're, not able to beat the market. But we're really empowering them through these sophisticated tools to make use of these sophisticated tools, which they otherwise wouldn't have any option to use. And the way we do this is by providing a real marketplace on our platform that really connects the creators on the one hand and the followers on the other hand, instead of just providing some black box signals that you see on some of the platforms that are out there.
Sure. And well, if that's the case, then is there some kind of a vetting process, or approval process? Because, if the bot is not necessarily a black box, but the secret source or the algorithm is not necessarily going to be public knowledge. But, the user still wants to be able to, I guess, do some back testing and just make sure that, the bot is going to do what it's supposed to do, right? So how do you take care of that?
Of course, yeah. No, and this is exactly what we were thinking about and really putting our heads together for an extended period of time. Christopher, do you want to explain a little bit about the security and curation process that we had in mind?
Yeah, so as Moritz said, this is really a tricky thing and something that we want to get right, because I think there are a lot of examples where it's especially in the crypto space, where it doesn't have a good look or a good feel to it, and people don't feel safe using this type of marketplace. So we envision it a two-phased kind of security process or verification process on the marketplace for trading bots. So first, the first entire stage is automated. So given that we have access to, or we can at least run the user's bot code, we can put it through different scenarios, right? So we can throw data at it. We can throw downward scenarios, sideways scenarios, upward scenarios. We can generate artificial data that the bot is not prepared to see, and see how it performs and put that into numbers. That already helps to filter out a lot of, I'd say, bots that can't handle some edge case scenarios, and that already is a very big filter to our marketplace. The second one is actually a manual certification process. So what we want to do is basically enable the bot creator to request a manual review from a Trality employee, and then the Trality employee would basically go through the bot a single time. So he would have read access to the bot and would basically look through the bot's code for consistency, whether it's really supposed to do what the creator is actually wants it to do. So it's not really checking, obviously, for drawdown or profit, but it's more checking whether the intent behind the bot is what it's supposed to be. And then basically we certify the bot so that it was checked by a Triality employee, and that is basically then put onto the marketplace.
Very interesting, and you don't have to answer, but I'm curious. What's the sort of I guess the breakdown of bots that are approved versus disapproved, if you like.
It's really about finding, I say, malicious behavior. So that's priority number one. So finding bots that would somehow misuse certain things, or listen for certain specific signals in the market that are not based on financial data. So stuff like that we want to filter out. That's the first priority. And the second one is obviously looking for inconsistencies in terms of potential bugs that could occur, those kind of things.
Sure.
And if I can just jump in here for just 1 second, I think as I said, we were talking to a bunch of investors as well, and one of the things that really stuck with us is one of them once said a couple of months ago, he was like, okay, so you're kind of the app store for trading bots. And this is actually really what we're trying to achieve here, because if you recall the Apple App Store and how it's built up and what it represents is basically a very accessible and usable product, very easy to use, good UI, UX, and at the same time, highly quality controlled and curated. And this is exactly what we're going for here as well. We don't want to see a jungle of different trading bots. And I think this also sort of hints to the answer of your question. We don't want hundreds of different bots where no one really knows what's going on and just has a bunch of black boxes to choose from, but instead really focus on high quality, well curated content on this marketplace, and making it so that people who are not versed in this kind of stuff find their way around and can be safe with us.
Yeah, nice. I really like that. That's a really nice analogy, the App Store for trading bots. And look, I'm sure you mentioned, I think, talking to investors, and I do understand that you've just completed a funding round. So I hope you use that analogy in your pitch deck. But talk to me a little bit about that process. You know, what's it been like trying to do a round? It's certainly been a volatile year for raises. What was the process like?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take over on this one. Look, it's been a roller coaster, I think, right? At the end, it turned out okay for us, but we started as a young pre-seed startup, so everyone always said, "Look, you're going to be at it for 6 months. Take the time, plan enough runway," and so we started raising basically end of January, beginning of February this year, and talked to a bunch of people, had a quite large outreach, and it went well. I would say it went really well. Basically exactly until the 15th of March or 16th of March, when the markets crashed and Corona came down hard on Europe, and there was even a couple of investors who just they stopped returning my emails, and in a sense, I don't blame them. Obviously, all the companies were focusing on their portfolio companies, all the investors, that is. And one of the things I always saw was that especially the more traditional VCs, they were really looking to secure their portfolio companies, especially when they're based in industries that might have been harder hit by the virus, like travel or event. And you also saw this kind of trickle down effect from the big VCs over in mostly the US, where they stopped making investments. So the smaller VCs below that, the ones that we were about to target in our early stage, would stop making investments because they thought that, if we invest into a company that we might want to make another round with in a year and a half, 2 years, we're going to have a problem because the bigger VCs don't have their deal flow ready yet. But luckily, this didn't really apply to crypto VCs. So we had a couple of investors that we talked to from basically day one of our funding round or of our raising. And they were really key and loyal. And basically, we talked to them throughout the process. We kept her performing, I would say, throughout the process. So after things, normalized a little bit in April, beginning of May, we picked up the talks. We said, this is what it is. We still have some runway. And then things actually moved quite quickly, and we're super happy to have 3 very good investors, 2 more from the angel field, but coming from the areas of trading and blockchain, and 1 specific crypto/blockchain VC called Tokentus from the Frankfurt area in Germany, who've been very, very helpful, very loyal, and we got big plans, with them.
Very nice. So presumably that gives you a little bit of runway and a little bit of leeway to start making plans and building out the platform. And look, I imagine a part of that is you've got to win market share. You've got to attract users, right? So yeah, I mean, it's the crypto markets are a funny thing, but let's say if the prices do keep going up, that's going to inevitably attract the interest of new people and new traders. But yeah, I mean, talk to me. How do you plan to win new users?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we see this as a two-sided game, basically. The two user groups that I talked to at the beginning, at the beginning, the creators and the followers, are really key when it comes to our go-to-market. Obviously, without going into too much detail, the focus on the creator side is much more on getting, into the community, building community, convincing these people of the quality of our platform, and trying to get the best and smartest creators onto our platform. And we believe we already do this to some extent, right? Because of the tools that we give them, because of the complex or sophisticated API that we offer for trading, about the documentation that we offer. We actually just today are launching our first larger trading competition for creators. So there, the focus is really on getting the smart creators, building a community around them, also talking to students, of course, who study quantitative finance, data science, math, all these kind of smart people that we want to get onto our platform. When, on the other hand, you talk about the follower side, this is, as you mentioned, this is the one where we need to scale, where we need to go into the broad market. And there, of course, the development of the crypto price, the Bitcoin price, helps when we expect another big hype wave, which we don't see yet, but which might come towards 2021. Of course, then the marketing is going to be different. It's going to be more of a mass marketing, and to get the followers onto a platform.
Fantastic. Well, let's maybe just talk a little bit about the bots. Any particular trends that you can see happening in the market at the moment? And because I know that there's, I don't forget the figures, but something like, especially in legacy markets, something like 80-90% of trading is algorithmic based, I think, and that is, I wouldn't imagine crypto markets are quite that high, but they're probably heading in that direction, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We see similar. I mean, there's no real statistics, as always with the crypto market, right? So you don't know for sure, but we see similar numbers. However, only on the professional side, and that's the same thing with the numbers you mentioned for the traditional markets. In retail, we hardly see any automation, simply because, and this is where we step in, automation is yet too complex, too time-consuming, too expensive. So, I'd say the couple of key trends that we're seeing in the industry, and I believe, Christopher, from a technical point of view, would be very happy to jump in here as well, is obviously algorithmic trading, right? With all the technical possibilities in the crypto world, open APIs, huge amounts of freely available data, such as even order book data, all these kind of things that you don't see in the traditional world. Algorithmic trading is going to be key here. The second one, obviously, machine learning based trading, to go even one step further in the algorithmic trading field, simply because we have these huge amounts of data, and the advances in machine learning technology in general. This is going to be one of the key trends that we focus on. And then the third, of course, being DeFi. However, as of now, we don't have any plans to move into this space further, but instead concentrating on our core competencies that lie within the first two fields that I just mentioned. But Christopher, why don't you jump in and elaborate a bit more?
Sure. Yeah. So as Mort said, and as you mentioned, I think a lot of people are moving into trading in general. It's just a trend we see, and I think especially during Corona now, we saw that both in crypto and in traditional space, a lot of people registered for these kind of platforms, and so the interest is really substantial in algo trading. But I think the one of the underlying problems is that people think that using simple technical analysis will bring them an edge in the long term. And at Trality, we actually believe that this might give you a very short time strategy, but it won't actually enable you to build a bot that's well performing in different market environments or in the long run. So at Trality, our goal is not really to build those algorithms ourselves, but to actually build the environment where people can live out their crazy ideas, whatever they want to do. So a reference I always like to tell people is when I worked at the university, my professor always used to say, the art is actually not to. So we were doing courses in game development at the time, and there are a couple of very famous game engines that people would develop in, and the students always asked him, why don't we learn how to use those tools? And he said that the art is not to actually master the tools and to use them, but to actually being able to build those tools. And I think this is really where where our strength lies, to actually build the environment for people to be creative. And we're already seeing this, right? So people come to us with crazy ideas on what they want to do, and this is really where we give them basically the flexibility to do that, right? So we give them, at the end of the day, we give them Python with a very easy to use API, and that's basically how they can achieve anything they like. And this is really different to, I'd say, a couple of our competitors who kind of try to use a purely user interface based, like drag and drop solution to this approach. And the main difference is, adding or improving our own Python API is rather simple, whereas adding more complexity to a UI in order to satisfy user needs or what they want to do, that basically blows up the UI, and in the end, it's these UIs look terrible, and that's why it's basically, when you look at some of the well-known trading terminals, they basically look extremely complex because there was so much functionality added over time. And this is really what we want to do differently.
Yes, I think that's called feature creep, isn't it? When things can get a little bit out of hand. But interesting that you mentioned the game engines, right? Because I'm quite fascinated by the Unreal Engine, right? Which of course is what Fortnite is built on, but also the Mandalorian, Disney Plus is, that TV show is basically they just film it in front of a green screen, and everything is built on the Unreal Engine, same engine that powers Fortnite. So that's quite interesting. But I don't, what's the difference between, how do you define the difference between algorithmic trading bots and what you're talking about with machine learning?
So our goal is really to, that people build their bots on some kind of statistical analysis and not based on their gut feeling, right? So we don't differentiate that much between how people want to find their edge, right? So whether it's some kind of heuristic they see fit in the specific market, or whether it's really a machine learning based tool where they they really did some out of sample testing and found their edge there. So that's really not the important question. The more important thing is that that we make people understand that there is a considerable amount of research to be done in order to first of all find the idea, the trading edge, and but also to verify it.
All right. Well, just before we finish off this part of the podcast, I understand that you guys are running an algorithmic trading competition. So, or you're thinking of launching one. What's the story here? What's the background? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Chris just alluded to, right? We really have this strong belief in solid research. We both have a close connection and tight, connection to university. We believe in this connection, both from a R&D standpoint, but of course also, as I mentioned earlier, from a go-to-market standpoint. But this is why we really while we're really closely connected there. We run a trading competition. Well, actually, we're launching it today in order to also target these young and up and coming quants, data scientists who want to perfect their skills, learn more. Also a large part of our platform is built around the mantra of learning. So this trading competition is not just a way to get smart creators on our platform, but also to enable them to, improve their skills in a real life setting. We're not talking, trading millions of real life assets here, but instead what they get is a real life setting with dynamic market data, which basically within seconds tells them whether their idea is performing well or not so well and what they can improve. And we believe that this is a huge learning implications and that ultimately help us get smart creators on our platform, but also help creators become smarter. And so we just launched that competition. It's going to run for the next 45 we have a submission period that runs for 30 days, and then we have a competition period that runs for 45 days where the bots are going to be simulated in a live environment. And at the end of the day, the 3 best participating bots according to return over maximum drawdown will receive a cash prize. And this is going to be one of the first, but we're going to have several of those because we really believe to get smart creators like this on our platform.
Sounds exciting. Will you better tell people where they can go to find out more about that competition if they're interested?
Yes, of course. Please just visit our homepage, Trality.com, and you'll find a pop-up guiding you right to that competition section where you can sign up to our platform and submit your highest performing bots in order for a chance to measure yourself with the best and of course win also a cash prize.
Very nice. Well, last question before we go to a break, Moritz. What's the vision for Trality on a sort of, I guess, let's say a 1 to 3 year timeline? Where would you like to be in 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, one year timeline is probably a bit of a stretch, right? But the 3 years, as you mentioned, is probably the more fitting timeline. No, look, in the future, we see a future where everything is going to be automated by bots in some sense or another. And in this future, we want to be the one and only platform that people rely on for automated private investments. And this is our goal and this is our vision and this is where we're striving to be.
Okay, well, look, I hope you get there. It'll be a fun ride one way or another. Let's go to a very quick break and then we'll come back and we'll finish off with the Crypto Conversation Hot Take Round.
Whether you're an enterprise fund manager or a retail trader, buying and selling cryptocurrencies successfully requires price discovery you can rely on. Brave New Coin's liquid indices provide trusted US dollar prices for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. Featuring end-of-day or intraday outputs, you can count on the BLX, ELX, and XRPLX for accurate US dollar pricing for smart contract oracles, settlement price discovery, net asset valuation, and performance analysis. Visit bravenewcoin.com to find out more.
All right, we're back and I'm with Moritz and Christopher from Trality, which is a crypto trading bot platform. Fellas, I like to finish each episode of the podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Amazing. Yeah, certainly.
Sure.
Should we take turns, Christopher? How do we do it?
Yeah, why not?
All right, cool. Sounds good.
Taking turns sounds good to me. All right, I just want your hot takes, your hot fire, take your best shot. Here we go. Moritz, we'll start with you. Where do you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-coin opportunist spectrum?
Oh, this is, obviously due to the nature of our business, I'm going to have to say multi-coin opportunists because obviously we're trading between different coins on our platform, and without all the other coins next to Bitcoin, there would be no trading.
No problem. That's very pragmatic and I do understand. Okay, well, Christopher, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion? So
I think one of the biggest problems currently is the lack of real institutional money in the space. And I think, once there's massive adoption by professional institutional investors, and I really think that is going to happen, I think that will seal the deal for crypto and it's going to take over the world. Wow, very bullish indeed. We will see.
I usually ask a question here about the American presidential election, but I'm very much looking forward to dropping that question, and I'm not even going to ask it today because we'll all know the answer soon enough. Let's move on. Moritz, Bill Gates famously said we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. What does the blockchain space, crypto or trading bots, whatever you like, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
Very, very, very interesting question. I think I'm going to revert back to the answer I gave you a couple of minutes ago about our vision, right?
Sure.
We see a future where everything is going to be automated. Bots are going to be playing a vital role, be it your home, be it your private life, your business life, and of course your private investing. And as I mentioned, our vision is to be front and center when we talk about private investments. When people think about a platform for private investments that are automated, they're going to think about Trality, hopefully.
Excellent. Okay, well, on a slightly similar note, Christopher William Gibson, sci-fi author, said that the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
So I think the future's here moment. So that obviously I do a lot in the area of machine learning, also within Trality, but also before that. And I think my future is here moment was when I first saw the performance of the new GPT-3 models from OpenAI. So for everyone who doesn't know that, that's a language prediction model.
Yes.
And so that one basically did a blog article, or basically wrote a blog article all by itself, and that was published to Hacker News, and without people actually telling that it was written by an AI. And I think it got voted to quite a high place even before people knew that was written by an AI. So I actually read the article, and I was fascinated by the fact that, it is a well-written, well-argumented blog article. And that's really when I thought, oh my,
That is a fantastic example, Christopher. That's one of the best examples anyone's ever given on the podcast, I think, and I completely agree. I remember when that was released earlier this year, and there were all sorts of different examples floating around on Twitter, and of course then people started writing their own and trying to say that this was an example of what was it called?
GPT-3.
Exactly. But fascinating. That is going to be really an interesting project to watch over the years to come.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's try and wrap this up, gentlemen. We're almost done. It's time to zoom out. Let's get a little bit weird. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race, Moritz? Do you see a dystopia or utopia?
Well, on that spectrum, I'm going to have to lean towards, even though I'm personally an optimistic kind of person, I think I'm going to lean towards dystopia. Man-made climate change seems to more and more likely to kill us, especially with the three main tipping points, melting ice sheets, permafrost, and the ocean circulation. So I'm kind of negative there on that spectrum, to be honest.
If I may jump in here for a second. So this time I have to weigh in as well, because I'm more of the glass half full guy. So I'm more of a utopian guy, and I think we'll actually manage to turn around those things at some point. And once we manage that, I think there's only one way forward, and science is going to be a big part of it.
Excellent. Technology will see us through. And well, speaking of utopian technology or dystopian technology, the final question, and we'll put it to both of you. Please, however you'd like to answer, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, show, or universe?
So I'm actually a big reader. Nowadays, I don't find the time that often as I used to. But I'm actually a big fantasy guy. So I really love fantasy books, and my all-time favorite book series is Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. amazing book series. But recently I started reading Dune, sci-fi classic, and also amazing book series. I'm in book number 3 currently. Wanted to read up before the new movie comes out.
All right. Well, just when we were talking about utopia, dystopia, my thought that came to mind, and I'm going to answer your question a little differently. My favorite sci-fi universe is the thought that we might not have to worry about dystopia versus utopia, but this all might just be a simulation, and it could be the answer to that question.
Yes, I saw a funny tweet tonight that said something to the effect of, if the US Electoral College ends up being a tie, then that's just further proof that we are in fact living in a simulation.
Exactly. So there's still hope. If it's all just a simulation at some point, maybe it's going to reset and we'll get another chance.
We can but hope.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Nothing else to say really, except maybe to hand the microphone back to you, Moritiz, and take us out. Tell the people where they can go to find out more about Trality and what you guys are building, the crypto bots, and where they can find you on your personal platforms if they want to follow you and hear what you've got to say.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been truly a pleasure. We're very much looking forward to welcoming you on our platform. We're a young and up-and-coming startup, still in our beta phase, so we welcome smart and experienced traders who give feedback to us, honest feedback, but we're really trying to build something great. Visit us under Trality.com and visit us on our socials, and of course you can also follow me on my LinkedIn, which is LinkedIn/Putzhammer, Putzhammer. Thank you very much.